I'm back and I don't know how to work nothing. Happy New Year. Oh, wait. Happy New Year, Star fam. Oh, yes, it's done. Happy New Year. How are we all doing? I've missed you guys so much. I've missed you guys so much. How are we all doing? Did you guys have a fun New Year? We're not going to talk about what's going on in America. Oh, my God, today it is crazy here. What are we going to do, y'all? What are we going to do? Especially for us Black Americans. I can't go nowhere. This is it. What is going on? Anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. Buckle up. We have some fun stuff coming up. Thank you all so much for your suggestions on what you want to see from me in the new year. I am absolutely taking them to heart. I was going to start some new stuff this week, but I'm just going to wait just because we got new shows starting this week. I didn't even know about traders. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm going to work those new things in, and again, taking your suggestions in and work those new things in next week. And you tell me what you think. Because yes, this is my channel. I am hosting, but you guys, you're my guests. So I'm not going to like make something that my guests won't eat. You know what I mean? So thank you all so much for your suggestions. I am so happy to be here. What did I do on my break? On my break, I did a lot of reading, watching some shows. I watched a few TV series and some movies that I'm going to discuss here on the channel. But I just rested a lot, prayed a lot, prepped myself for this new year because my God, today, what are we walking into? And I spent a lot of time um, taking chances with the channel. Like leap. I feel like we've been in a zone, right? Let's do something different. Let's, why not? Who knows how much time we have in America? So while we're here, let's do it. Why not? I also watched this nonsense with my family. I'm going to be honest here. This documentary, I don't really feel like it was tea. Like I learned some stuff, but I'm like, I don't think I don't know. I felt like the way they built this, but I'm trying to see if I got Mary's picture. The way they built this up, I was just expecting a bit more, and I don't really think that I got it. But we're going to talk about, where's my phone? We're going to talk about each episode. We're going to, I want to give my opinions of what I witnessed, and then you guys will jump in. Oh, child. We will go from there. But hold on, I thought I had Mary's picture. I did not. So let me bring up Miss Mary Cosby. Guys, is her name Cosby? Because I have been saying Crosby since forever. Is it Cosby? Let me look that up right now, because hold on. Oh my God, it's Cosby. Why were we saying Crosby? I feel like I remember her being introduced as Crosby, right? Y'all don't remember that? I can't believe her name is Cosby. Any relation to Bill? My God, today I have been calling her Crosby because I thought that was the difference. Apparently it's not. Apparently it's not. Wow. Okay, Mary Cosby. Where the hell did I get Crosby from, y'all? I know. I saw that somewhere. No, they called her that on the show. I'm not crazy. Right? Where did I get Crosby from? Oh, wow. Anyway, let's get into it. We are going to talk about the first episode. Oh, I already had it. Done, Nikki. I already had the freaking thing. I didn't even need to wait. We're going to, oh, child, I didn't even know. I almost fell on my chair. There we go. Did you miss my chaos? Did you miss my chaos? We're going to get into the first episode. Oh my gosh. But before we do that, we got to go over our drinks. We got to go over our drinks. Where is she at? LOVE. LOV. LOV. There she is. There's my girl. There it is. Ah, yes! Guys, you have no idea how long I've had this. I was supposed to this was supposed to be my intro into November. For some reason, I forgot about it. I think I hid it. That's what I get. I hid this because my little sister, all of a sudden, she's in Ollipops now. So I have had to hide the new Ollipops that I wanted to show you guys. So I ended up hiding this in my fridge for like 2 months. I absolutely forgot about it. So we're going to try it now. This is supposed to be me trying it in November, but well, January, who cares? Who cares? It's still winter. It's still winter. And it's still the holidays over here. Hello, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. All right. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. It has a weird aftertaste though. Did I keep this for too long? Is this expired? Do they expire? No, it says 26. Oh my God, do these expire? Because it has a weird aftertaste, very different than the other ones. Oh, this is made in Oakland. Okay. Did this expire? Store refrigerated. Because I don't know, am I supposed to have these for this long? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Well, listen, if I run off, y'all know why. Y'all know why. Anyway, let's get into it. So, Mary Cosby. Cosby. Okay. So, this documentary is about Mary Cosby and the cult of the housewife, right? The cult of the housewife is a documentary about Mary Cosby and her church. We know Mary Cosby from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She is the only color on the show and the only reason why a lot of people started to watch, because she was just so out there, so ridiculous, so rude. But you know, it's train wreck TV, reality TV, it's train wreck TV. So this was somebody that was not only polarizing but very interesting. So she kept a lot of people coming to the show, a really, really popular character. So this 3-part documentary is about her church. She goes to well, she doesn't go to, she runs a evangelical apostolic, don't quote me, church in Utah. It doesn't seem like it's a highly populated church. So I don't know where the money is coming from, but Mary did say that her grandmother left her a lot of businesses. Anyway, Mary married her grandfather, who was previously married to her grandmother. She said that her grandmother brought her to her grandfather and said, "This is who I want you to marry." So she said that she was honoring his wishes. So this documentary is mainly about how that relationship came to be and what happened to the church after there was a split, and just gave us a brief update on where these two are today. That is a lot to take in, but let me tell you something, buckle up, because it gets weirder. It gets weirder. The first thing I will say, I'll save that at the end. I'll save my final thoughts at the end, but let's just break down episode 1. Oh my God, because I wrote Crosby. Has it been Cosby this whole time? Anyway, so we start off, we meet Mary when she was very, very young. She was a wild child, a wayward child, a prodigal daughter of the church, a fly girl, somebody who dated. I did not know they had dope boys in Utah. Oh, empty. And can I just say, the Black Americans in this documentary, the Utahian Black Americans, are like mad familiar. You know what I mean? You would think that Black Americans in Utah would have like a different vibe, but they got like a Black American vibe. You know what I mean? You would think that they would be really awkward and different because, you know, everybody else from Utah is a little off. No shade. I'm sorry. I don't know everybody from Utah. According to this cast, the Real Housewives and the Mormon wives, they seem like they're a little weird. You know what I mean? But the black American people in this documentary, I feel like I could see them in Philly and not even think that they were from Utah. So that was something that was really like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Not y'all being normal in Utah. I know that's right. We see Sherelle's world is in this. She opens up the documentary, giving a breakdown of Mary and who she was. Sherelle's world was like a historian, a Mary Cosby historian in this. I was like, oh, I know that's right. We meet her former boyfriend Robert, Mary's former boyfriend Robert, who they dated when they were teens into like their early 20s, but he was basically just like he couldn't keep up with Mary because he ain't had the money. I want to say this, Robert, I feel like he still wants Mary. The way that man was talking about her, it was like he was fiending and misses his ex. So I was just like, what is going on? I'm telling you, this is kind of in my final thoughts, but I want to say it now. I left this documentary being like, there's that girl of Utah. Everybody was so pressed by this woman. And I'm like, y'all are making her this girl. I don't think that she's all that, but I feel like I would feel like I'm all that if everybody and their mama can't keep my name out their mouth. Like the way everybody in this documentary was talking about her, I was just like, oh, that's why she has an overinflated ego. Look how y'all are talking about her. Look at the power y'all are giving this woman. It's so weird, but let's keep going. The leak, they keep on playing this leak audio that we've heard before from her church. The leak audio is Mary basically cussing them out for not giving her more money. And to be honest, I witnessed that. I've seen that in church. For a lot of them scamming churches, that is normal, right? They do that a lot. They take advantage of poor and working class Black people who kind of make these leaders in their church these, the gateway to God. And they feel like if they give them, their money and they give them their offerings, God will come and see about them. No shade, but poor and working class people are very easy to scam because they are yearning for a better life, constantly wanting something better. And it's very easy to scam them, especially if they are older. So the audio, it's jarring. In my experience in church, it's not surprising. And that is a problem. That is a problem. We meet Mary's sister, who looks like Wendy Williams. She was giving me Wendy Williams. She doesn't like Mary. Her and Mary will have beef forever. But she is throughout the documentary, and she is just basically talking about how Mary, right out the gate, she lets us know Mary is a fraud. So there is some bitterness there in Mary's relationship with her sister. Well, there is none, but the bitterness comes from the fact that the sister feels like Mary stole what was promised to her and her mother. Then we meet the Enoch family, who is the family that was a family that Mary and her family grew up with in the church. They were all really, really close. Her ex-boyfriend Robert is a part of that family, and that family was really involved in the building of Mary's church that she was a member of, but she was not running it. Her grandmother was running the church. Mary was in and out of the church. She was in them streets, child. She was in the streets. We hear about how a lot of the members gave, thousands and thousands of dollars to Mary and her husband, her grandfather husband, because they thought that was the right thing to do. And Mary and her husband were manipulating them and making them feel like they have to give more if they want to be blessed by the Lord. My only issue with this documentary, I have a few, but we meet this cult expert. I don't have a problem with him. I think that man was very well informed. I like the information that he gave. I do feel like they should have had, if it was available. If it wasn't available, I'll understand. But normally in Hollywood, they don't go looking for diversity. Hello. I felt like this would have been better if it came from the perspective of a Black American theologian, right? Because this person could really talk about why the church is the way they are and really give receipts and just deep information and research as to why this church, Mary's church, is like that and why a lot of Black American churches are like that. Because I feel like a huge aspect of this documentary, they were missing the fact that a lot of the practices that are happening within this church and a lot of apostolic evangelical and holiness churches and Baptist churches, a lot of that comes from hoodoo. So I wish you would have had a Black American cult expert or just a Black American theologian who could speak to that, because I felt like a lot of what was in this documentary was made to be like shocking or scary, and I'm just like, this is kind of normal in churches that, Black American churches that have like hoodoo mixed within it, and a lot of us don't even know it, but that is the basis of a lot of our churches. And if you make it, and I just felt like a lot of cultural things were made to look a certain way, cultural, tribal, you know what I mean? I think that they were made to look a certain way because this man didn't have the expertise to explain that. He did a good job with what he explained. I will give him his tens, but I just felt like there were, the praising, the way they praise God in their church, and just the dancing and the singing and the repetition and the rhythm of it all. I think that deserved to be explained as well, because the audience that is tuning into this, I think a lot of them don't know that. And to try to make this so weird and odd when they are literally living in an area that is controlled by Mormonism is crazy work to me. I'm like, we're not going to make this church look crazy when it's smack dab in the middle of Utah. Let's not do that. Let's not. The church got issues, but come on. That's what we're not going to do. Remember, if you watched Salt Lake City back in the day, there was an episode, I think like 2 seasons ago, but there was an episode where Mary was talking very carelessly about one of her members that was driving and ran off a bank and died. Remember, she was just like, wear your seatbelt. That was the daughter of her ex-boyfriend. And he felt like that was a dig to her. I'm going to say that was a dig to him. That's why Mary did it. I'm going to say, if Mary is that obsessed with Robert, as he said in this documentary, Robert, I don't feel like you proved your point. It looked the opposite. It just like you were saying a lot of things about Mary, but it just wasn't sticking. In my opinion, Robert, in my opinion, I would have wanted a bit more proof or receipts, but I did feel like that moment with that Mary talked about his daughter passing. I felt like we all was just like shocked by that. Like, you are the pastor, and this is how you were talking about one of your sheep so carelessly. You shocked the Mormons. My God, today. I just don't think that Robert proved that she was like, the whole documentary, he was saying like how Mary was doing these things. And I'm just like, the documentary is not proving what you're saying. And so you kind of look pressed, which is I don't think that is the case though. Right. But I just felt like the documentary was trying to prove these things about Mary. And I don't think they had the receipts to do that. But we move on. Was that? It's just episode 1. Then we start talking about Cameron. I did not know that Cameron was Mary's alleged boyfriend. I just thought that he was like a family friend who had some tea on her, but baby, it goes deep. Allegedly, Mary and Cameron were dating. Like, he was her side piece. Like, she tricked on him, gave him everything that he wanted. She initiated it. He told Mary's brother, we have a recording of that, where he's telling Mary's brother that Mary lured him in to her room. This is ridiculous. My God, today. Mary lured him into her room, told him to come over to her, open her legs, put his hand and made like took his hand and put his hand in her coochie, and then she reached over and was rubbing on his genitalia, and then that's where their affair started. I'm going to say, all of this is alleged. I'm going to say that I believe it. Here is why. I think that Mary's husband, who we know is also her grandfather, I think he knows how uncomfortable this was for Mary, right? I think he knows that he can't provide for her sexually the way that she, you know what I mean? I don't think she's attracted to him. I don't anymore. We'll get into episode 2. But I don't think that currently right now that she is interested in him. And I think like a lot of older men who marry younger women make adjustments. Not all, but a lot of them make adjustments when they see that either they can't fulfill their younger bride in a certain way, or they see that she needs something that they can provide, but she doesn't want from them. But because they are so obsessed with keeping this young thing on their arm, they'll do anything. Gordon, remember Gordon? Gordon and Mia? Gordon told Mia that she can have a boyfriend, just don't bring him around the kids. He said, I'm fine with you seeing somebody else. It's okay. Just don't bring them around the kids. He did not want to divorce Mia. He put so much into keeping her. He did not want to lose her. And he told her, you can date, Fat Trick Daddy. No shade. I forgot his name. You can date him and be with him and sleep with him or whatever. I'll even get you your own place where you and him could, be booed up together. Just don't bring him around the kids. So I think that that's pretty normal, right? It was believable to me. The receipts, the recording, there was far too many receipts for this to not have this relationship, to not have some believability. In my opinion, Miss Cosby. Because she don't need to be up here the whole time. My God, today is my show. Yeah, but he basically said that him and Mary were in a full-blown relationship, and he was going along with it because he thought that he was pleasing God, because a lot of people in the church thought that Mary and her husband were God or the next thing to God. So he felt like he was doing what he was doing with Mary was pleasing the Lord. So he didn't think that he was doing anything wrong. And she was also treating him very, very nicely, taking him on trips and private jets, flexing on him, like giving him the latest clothes, the latest shoes, even giving him money to take care of, his children. Like, she made sure he was set up nicely. I will say this. A lot of people in this documentary said that they did the things because they thought that Mary was God. And you know what? To a certain extent, I can see that because it happens. Hello, Jim Jones. The majority of people that he that committed suicide with him, Black people. We got discernment, but we can be convinced. We can be convinced. My issue with Cameron is that it stated that may he rest in peace. It stated that he thought that what he was doing was right because he thought that he was sleeping with God or, pleasing God. And he's considered, a lot of people in the church consider Mary a God. And I want to say this, at some point, common sense has to kick in. If God is so amazing and you are doing all these things, you believe that you were doing all these things to please him, at some point discernment got to kick in. And I think discernment did kick in because I feel like people can say that they were a victim up to a certain extent, because you can't tell me and have me believe it that if you see Mary as God, that you believe that God will lure you into a room, open his legs, and take your hand and put it in his holy coochie. You know what I mean? I'm listening to these people and they're talking about how they were victimized, and I get it, but I'm like, y'all, Mary was wrong, but y'all was going along with a lot of like. You can't tell me that this woman who has a whole husband hiding you in a closet in a private jet, you want us to believe that you thought that this was pleasing the Lord? I could have went along with it if he said, I ain't never have nobody treat me like that before. She was paying all my bills. Me and my kids were set up. I felt financially stuck in this relationship. And if I pissed her off, that lifestyle would end. And I didn't want that lifestyle to end. I respect it because that makes sense. That makes sense. This other stuff, I'm like, you're losing me. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's move on to episode 2. How you flying out your side piece on the church's dollar? Yikes. Yikes. So we get into the history of Faith Temple, which is a church that Mary and her husband lead out. We open up with Mary's grandmother, Mama. There she is. Mama came to Utah with her family, her children, because she said that the Lord told her to start a ministry out here. I'm out in Utah. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna say this: no shade. May Mama rest in peace. Mama was scamming. If you are going to scam, especially scam religiously, Utah is the place to do it. Utah is the place to do it. Those people are so easily scammed. You got a town full, a city full of a state, right? I'm American. Hold on. Salt Lake City, Utah State. I'm Philadelphian. I should know this. Anyway, you got a whole state that don't drink alcohol because they think that it's demonic. Now listen, it's called spirits. They may have a point, but instead, these people got a sugar addiction. They don't drink. If they do drink alcohol, it's watered down and they can only have but so much because they have been convinced that it's evil, right? But they have all of these soda shops. So they extract one addiction for another and call it God. You got a whole state of people who believe that God looked upon Black people and cursed us with dark skin. Black people. Us. The originals? Like, so it's, if you're going to scam, that's the place to do it, especially if you're going to use religion, because no shade, those people will believe anything. Discernment ain't there. So her doing this whole broadcast, she was on the news and she was saying, God told me to come to Utah. You saw an easy lick. Mama, you saw an easy lick. So many of y'all, these people be saying that God be saying this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all better stop playing on his top. Anyway, so Mama is on the news talking about God told her to come to Utah to start an evangelical church. God told her to build her church in Salt Lake City, Utah. Mary sounds just like her grandmother. Looks like her too. Got the same like cadence and everything. I will say I did like, although I wanted an African American theologian to also speak to the cultist aspect, we did get some history of the Pentecostal church, um, especially the Pentecostal church concerning Black Americans, and I thought that that was really really good. Not only was Mama scamming, Mama was also grooming. So here's the thing: I've been said this back when I was reviewing the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I was just like, Mary got some issues. She absolutely got a lot of stuff to work on. That lady was groomed. That lady was groomed, and we see that it's a spirit, a predatory spirit in that bloodline, and it starts with Mama. Because this is the thing: the people in the church who used to go to this church, who are talking about Mary and how terrible she is, they still have a very alarming relationship with Mama. They talk about that lady like she is a god, right? They even justified her grooming Robert, because when Mama and Robert were 22 years apart. So when Mama and Robert met, Robert is Mary's husband and grandfather. When they met, Robert was, when he came to the church, Robert was 20, Mama was 42. And the church members who are in this documentary talking about how horrible Mary is and how horrible Robert is because he groomed Mary, they're overlooking that Mama groomed Robert. He was 20 years old. Mama good and grown. Perimenopausal probably. What are you and this young man doing, right? So they're all justifying the relationship and saying, oh, Robert wanted Mama bad. BS. BS. I'm sorry. Ain't no way. Ain't no way a 20-year-old man. Mama is a gorgeous woman. Ain't no way a 20-year-old man with options is chasing Mama down. Guys, yes, it can happen. We gotta be realistic. We got to be realistic. A 20-year-old man is not chasing after an older Black woman that dresses like Mary Poppins. It can happen. I don't believe it is in this situation. But all of those church members tried to justify this relationship and say he was always after Mama, and Mama ain't want to bother with him because he was younger than her. Right. 22 years younger than her. What does that look like? The leader of this church jumping up and down on this young new member, calling her Mama. In my opinion, Faith Temple, it's a little weird. It's a little weird, y'all. It's a little weird. So then they start talking about how he finally broke Mama down. Okay, y'all. I'm not saying that he couldn't consent at that age. And I don't even, and to be honest with you, the way they was talking about Mama, he was probably a lot younger. But I'm going to go with the information they gave me. I'm not saying that he can't consent. I'm just saying the way they are talking about that relationship with Mama and Robert, the church members, I don't believe it. Because they removed all blemishes from this woman. There was nothing wrong with anything that there was no critique. Everything was Mama was this, Mama was that, and Mama was so loving, and Mama was so. Somebody got to be lying, because y'all have this story of Mama, and then this church got this story about Mama, and then this church got this story about Mama. Who is telling the truth? I want to believe this church, But the way y'all talk about mama, especially when it comes to her starting a relationship with a 20-year-old new member in your church, I can't trust you. Because that is extremely predatory. Because not only is she 20 years older than him, she is in a position of leadership. You mean to tell me that while you are in charge or putting yourself in a position to be in charge of this young man's soul, getting it right before the Lord, you also decided to help yourself to his genitalia? That don't make no sense, y'all. It don't make no sense. And I gotta be honest with you, if the genders were reversed, we would see it clear as day. Because when it became Mary's grandpappy and mammy, everybody saw it to be a problem. Why wasn't it a problem with Mama and Robert? So then we get Mama and Robert, who not only start a relationship because they dipping in and doing and living in sin, they decide that, they got to get married and they got to make it official. And he becomes he becomes the leader of the church with Mama. We also find out that from Mary's brothers and the Enoch family that Robert was abusing the children. Robert was an army vet, and he was making the young boys do drills and really really hard and difficult drills, to the point where if there was one part where Mary's brother is talking about how there was some workout he had them doing, and if they went down too low, he would put needles, like pins, under their knees, and it was an incentive to make sure that they don't break, like they don't fall out of the position. And when he's talking about those drills and how he gets to the pins on the knees, he starts to break down crying because he's remembering trauma. I want to say this: everybody in both churches, Faith Temple and the new church that was built, everybody in this documentary experienced trauma. And it starts with Mama. Like she was a trauma umbrella. And everybody under that umbrella experienced some serious trauma. But nobody wants to name it. Everybody, I feel like everybody's just victim blaming. All the victims are blaming each other. And I'm just like, the person who was responsible for this petri dish of demonism, y'all acting like she got. Like, nobody wanted to acknowledge that this was the house that Mama built. And everybody was traumatized under it, within it. Nobody wanted to acknowledge that she's the reason for all of this. But nobody wanted to acknowledge it. They just blamed each other. And I'm like, you guys are victims, unfortunately. But this happens a lot in church, y'all. So it's sad, but it's reoccurring. It's a reoccurring nightmare in in a lot of Black churches. So then this episode ends with them talking about how Mary is in the streets heavy. She's in the streets so much and cutting up so much in them streets that they basically excommunicate her from the church. So that means she can go to the church, but she can't serve in any capacity because she's doing too much sinning. What was you doing in the streets of Utah? What was you doing? Who was you riding around with in Salt Lake City? Child, not she was one of them girls. Let's get into episode 3. We get into how Mary and her husband, Robert / grandfather, how their relationship came to be. Everybody says Mama is sick. She gets sick and Mama passes away. And right after Mama passes away, all of a sudden it's Mary and Robert. Like Robert is she's like in his quarters with him. And in the beginning, nobody thought it was weird. Everybody's just like, oh well, she's comforting her grandfather. Then everybody was just like, wait a minute, something is happening here. Mind you, Robert is 20 years older than Mary. Now, Mary's mother comes in. Mary's mother, who may she rest in peace as well, she passed away shortly after doing this documentary. She talks about how she did not want Mary and Robert to be together, but there was not much she could do because Mary was, she was, 20 or whatever. And so she was a legal adult. She could do whatever she wanted to do, but she did not like it. And Robert and Mary were telling the church that not only is this what Mama wanted, this is what God wanted. And the church was just like, nah, no, we don't believe that. And here's the thing. I felt like they didn't believe that Robert and Mary, that God and Mama wanted Robert and Mary to be together, not because that's something that they couldn't believe. I think they didn't believe it, excluding Mary's mother. I think they didn't believe it because of the assets that Mama left to Robert that Mary now was overseeing. I think the beef with these churches is not this relationship. I think it's because this relationship came with financial power because Mama had a lot of businesses. I think Mary said she had a school, she had a trucking company. Mama, like they get money from the church, but that they also get money from all of Mama's businesses. And when Mama died, she passed those on to Robert. And when Mary married Robert, she got those things. So I feel like this beef is money. Aside from Mary's mother, I don't think that everybody is mad that Mary married her grandfather. I think they were so wackadoodle in that church that they would have believed that if Mary didn't get everything, because Mary's mother did not receive anything. Mary's sisters did not receive anything. Her brothers did not receive anything from Mama. Everything went to Robert, and Robert split those things with Mary. They also talk about how Mary was tricked on by Robert. The same way Mary tricked on Cameron, that's what Robert was doing. Anything she wanted, he gave to her, and he was spending a lot of money that was alarming to the church, but he was trying to, court and keep this young lady. So a lot of people had issues with that. A lot of people had issues with Mary coming in and just bulldozing everything because Mama did it a certain way. Here's the thing. Mama isn't here anymore. And if Mama didn't leave a will and how things were supposed to go, then unfortunately, this is how it's going to have to happen, which is why you need to get a will, guys. You need to have everything in order of how you want your assets to be allocated and how you want your church to be ran. Mama got sick. She passed away. And it was left up to Robert, who was her husband, to do what he saw fit. And he saw fit to get himself married. Now, I don't believe that Robert and Mary had anything prior to that because Mary, was out in the streets, right? She wasn't really like in the church like that. She didn't really come around until Mama got sick. Now, he probably could have did something to her when she was much younger. And, that happens a lot of people who have been abused end up marrying or being in a relationship with their predators. They end up falling in love with them. Mary Kay Letourneau, she was the school teacher, the 32-year-old school teacher who had sex with her 13-year-old student, and he fell in love with her. He thought that was love to the point where even while he was still a teen, he would continue to run back to her, and she got pregnant twice by him. And they had two daughters. Mary passed away, and now the young man who was her victim is now raising their daughters. Unfortunately, he's having a really hard time doing it because he struggles with alcoholism. He's an adult trying to come to terms with, so it is, I said all that to say it is possible that, the abused can fall in love or or think that they are in love with their abuser or their or the person or the predator or the predator who preyed on them. It can happen. That could have been a situation, but this documentary has so many holes, and because the people who are leading out the documentary are still very are still like under this mindset of the cult, like not the cult, under the mindset of this church, right? They think they cannot see mama as an issue, a problem, because they are seeing her as some sort of god. So because they can't see that issue, they can't properly clock this issue, because if you properly clock what this is and tell the truth on what this relationship absolutely is, then you got to shine a light on mama. And that is where the documentary lost me, because if we're not going to acknowledge mama's part in this and mama's follies, then how can we ever get to this relationship here? Because this relationship birthed this relationship. So we can't condemn this one if we're not going to talk about this one. This one shouldn't even have happened. My God, today. But anyway, the church eventually splits because Mary's mom, I think that she was the only, I felt like watching this documentary, she did not like it. She said, I did not want my daughter to be with him. It was not right. I believe her. I think Mary and her brother, I do believe that they were just like, this is just sick. Out of all the church members, I feel like they were the ones who were just like, God, this isn't it. This, I think they had the purest intentions of just like, this is not how it goes. And Mary's mom was like, I do not like this. And Robert kept on coming up on the pulpit saying, this is God. And Mary's mom was like, no, this isn't. So we have a recording of Mary's mom going up to the church and being like, this is not it. This is not of God. She cussed them all out. And then she did a little shout. They called the cops, removed Mary's mom, and half the church went with Mary's mom because they didn't think that what happened with Mary and Robert was right, and the fact that Mary, who was formerly in the streets, all of a sudden became a first lady and was running the show. But then some people stayed. There also were some clips in this documentary where they were showing people during like testimony service and during like Mary's birthday. And, I think it was just like really intimate moments where these people are professing their love to her. Yes, it was weird. Yes, it was odd. I just felt like we should not have seen it, especially that young girl who was just crying to Mary and saying, I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you. I think, a couple of years down the line, she's going to be embarrassed by that and regret that. But when you're indoctrinated in this nonsense, you really can't see it, especially when you're young. So I felt like some moments we did not need to witness. I didn't think that it necessarily helped the story. So anyway, Mary later gets this show, and I think it really pissed off the people who already did not like her and already saw her as, the problem, to see the world now embracing her as this fun, yet polarizing character. They were just like, no, this lady is not it. So that's where a lot of, the audio and things are being leaked during that time. And now it's making its way to the show. And she, because it was getting so much traction, especially the leak audio of her church, Mary decided to not attend, I think, season 3 of Salt Lake City, the reunion, and she didn't come back next season. She ended up being brought back by Bravo the following season because the ratings were terrible. And it really showed that Mary was a very important part of that show. So she had to come back despite that. And the people who were just wronged by her were just like, wow, they gave her a platform again. They thought that they got her, but Bravo gave her another platform. And a lot of people were, a lot of people in this documentary were really disgusted by that. which is why I think that this documentary is on TLC and not Bravo or, or Peacock. Because they got beef with Bravo for bringing Mary back. We also find out that Mary was married before she was with Robert. I did not know that. We find out that Mary and Robert, when he was just her grandfather, came to her husband at the time and was just like, this relationship needs to end. And like 19 days after she divorced her first husband, her and Robert were like 90 days after she divorced, her and Robert were married. And that's when a lot of people were just like, well, was this whole thing planned? Were y'all just like waiting for mama to die? Probably. He probably could have been doing stuff with this with Mary way before then. Like the way for I would believe that something happened way before then, because for them to move so fast after mama died, that didn't just happen. That relationship was a brewing. Another thing, they keep on saying that Robert was a con and that he conned mama. Was he probably a slick 20-year-old? Probably. I just still, I'm not going to solely make him responsible for that relationship. Not only was mama older, she was the lead pastor, bishop, apostle of that church. She had more power than him. So I'm not going to make mama the victim like that church was. Like the church members who are mad at Mary was making mama the victim. And I'm just like, I don't see it that way. I'm sorry, Faith Temple Part 2. I don't see it like that. Then we also talk about how Mary and Robert's leadership of the church became extremely cult-like. But here's another thing, and that's my issue. I'm just like, y'all are pointing these fingers at Mary and Robert, but I'm just like, the church was like this before them, because we also saw footage of mama in the church, and I'm just like, what is the difference? Y'all were doing the same thing with mama that y'all are now doing with Mary and Robert. So I think that Faith Temple Part 2, I don't think that they were, aside from Mary's brother and sister, I don't think that they were very convincing to me, because I think they need to be fully delivered from that church to really sit down and speak to us about what is going on with Robert and Mary, because they're still so deeply connected to mama and under her spell. And I'm just like, you can't go after Mary and Robert without going after mama. You got to start there. And just the way they were trying to villainize him, I get it. I've heard the audio, right? I've seen Mary on the show. I've met her in person. I get it. But she's not the only bad guy here. And that's where the documentary like lost me. I'm just like, there's no good people in like y'all just victim blaming each other. That's all it is. So then we find out that Mary's brother, he had left the church. He was essentially like pushed out. His wife still stayed. And he was home one time, and his wife was on the phone with Robert. And Robert was telling her to tell him, that he loved her. And I think she had the phone on speaker. And the husband was just, and Mary's brother was just like, wait a minute. What's happening? And then Robert said to Mary's brother, his wife, Robert says to his wife, call me back when you can talk. And Mary's brother's wife, her sister-in-law, she's just like, I don't even know why he said that to me. That was so weird. Like, why would he talk to me like that? Why would he say that? And that's where I started to think that maybe I needed to leave the church. I'm going to be honest, no shade to Mary's sister-in-law. I'm a call BS. I think you might be ashamed to reveal that you was also messing with this man. It doesn't, here's the thing why I say that, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that you are doing all of these things for this man, become his personal secretary, just like Cameron was Mary's personal bodyguard, and he calls you and has the courage to say to you, tell me that you love me. That's not the first time that he said that. And he said that to you because you have responded to that before and probably have said it. Now, I get if you don't want to let us know that you were manipulated and, you know, at your big age, convinced to, you know, cheat on your husband with this guy that you probably weren't attracted to. Hello? What are you doing? How are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Toya.Star is going shopping. What do you need? No, you're not. What do you need?
Hi, I'm sorry. Hey, hi, Star Family. I'm sorry. I have to get something.
What are you getting? I am the Walgreens of my family. Anyway, I will totally understand if she just did not want to, you know, let us know that, you know, she fell, right? She backslid and she did something that she should not have done because she knew that it was wrong probably, or, you know, was felt manipulated. That happens to a lot of women in the church, especially. It is very easy for a woman to fall into an affair with a person in leadership at their church, especially a pastor, because you do get a little, it happens. We have seen it since I was a kid, right? It happens where you think because these guys are, these preachers or whatever, are prophesying and saying, God told me this and God told me that. And you feel like this person has a connection to God, and you are honored when they acknowledge you. You feel so special. And because you probably want to know what it's like to be with a God, or probably felt like if you didn't do it, you would not please this person, just like Cameron, you did something. It's right here for you. Oh my God. Why did you ask me before I got on live?
I know, I'm sorry. And
it's right there.
Where?
Look.
This?
No. This? Right on my Toya. Right there. Yes.
This? Oh. Oh, I didn't.
Toya, get out of my room.
Okay,
this is so wrong.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you, sister. I love you.
No, this was rude.
I'm sorry.
And I want an apology when I get off.
I apologize right now. Sorry.
Bye.
Guys. Bye.
I'm so sorry, Star Family. Anyway, I like I said, I will understand if she doesn't want to say that. I think they should have just left that part out, because as they were talking about it, I was just like, something doesn't sound right. Something doesn't sound right. And I think that the people who were in this documentary, I think they need to do this documentary again after they leave that church, right? Because they're in Faith Temple 2.0. I want to know the real tea when y'all leave that church, because a lot of y'all can't talk right now. Y'all unable to talk right now because y'all still under mama's spell. When y'all get from under that covering, then we can really have a talk, right? We can really talk about this, because it's just a lot of stuff just wasn't making sense and adding up. And my discernment is kicking in, and I'm like, why would he say that? And again, not victim blaming her, but I think when they are discussing how terrible Robert and Mary are, they're leaving out some stuff, because if they add everything, we're going to be looking at them funny too, like, oh, but you did, you know what I mean? And she's probably just embarrassed and you know, coming to terms with what happened with her and Robert. I get that. But we need to know, or not know, but there needs to be another documentary after they leave the church because it's too many holes. And I think it's because you want to protect mama and you want to protect Faith Temple that is still under, or that is under mama. You want to protect that. And I get that. I've been in church all my life. I understand that. But until y'all leave that church, or until y'all are free to really speak, this documentary just wasn't worth it. I don't feel like we learned anything um that new, where it's just like, I don't think, no, I won't say that. I don't think it did what they wanted it to do. I think they wanted this documentary to show that Mary is this monster, but how are we going to call her a monster when the people who are in this, who she, harmed or whatever, are consenting adults? There is, I think it's the Thompson family. That's where um, Mary's sister-in-law. They are also a family that was in the church, and since she left that church, her brother and her sister were a part of the church. When she left the ministry, she couldn't talk to them anymore. Like she was telling her brother that Mary is taking all of his money, because she was just saying her brother constantly didn't have any money. And I'm like, why are you not having any money? And her brother's telling her how much money he gave to Mary in the church. And she's like, well, that's why you don't have any money. And after she had a conversation with her brother, Mary called her on the phone and kicked her out of the church. After she told her brother to button up his wallet and stop giving to Mary, Mary called her and said, well, don't come to my church ever again, and kicked her out of the church. Then we have her. Then we have another person who's a part of this same family, the Tunson family. Her name, I believe, is Emily. Right? Hold on, that's too young. Pat. Pat Tunson. She was Mary's, and this is how they describe her, Mary's longtime slave. I know somebody who worked on a show, and they were just like, that is how this lady was treated. And she basically worked for Mary until she died. And they were talking about how horrible this lady was treated. And that, Mary really didn't care about her. But this is the thing. This lady volunteered her services to Mary and Robert, because there are a lot of people at that church who would volunteer their services to Mary and Robert as a way of showing that they want to please God, or the gods that rest within them. And again, it's just like, that's terrible that Mary and Robert did that. These are grown adults who said yes to this, and that's where that's where it comes in. Where it's just like, you got to take some responsibility. What these people did to you was wrong. Why are you 52 years old volunteering to be somebody's slave? Right? So it's like Mary and Robert were wrong, but it's like, you guys aren't showing, the documentary isn't showing that they put a gun in anybody's head, that they forced these people to do these things. Like the organist that gave her $5,000. What are you doing? Why would you do that? Like, I'm like, I understand the tithe. That at least I can trace that back to the Bible. Why are you giving this lady $5,000 for her birthday? That doesn't make sense. She should not have taken that money. You should not have given it to her. So I feel like there is these Mary and Robert, not good leaders. I wouldn't go to that church. I wouldn't give her a dime, right? They're responsible for their part. You got to be responsible for yours. I went to churches like this. My only thing that I can say is that I was a teen. Like my brain was fully developed when I was making some of them decisions. Today, what church is scamming me today? Baby, you know how many pastors I done fought? Let me stop telling my business. You know how many churches I've been kicked out of? Girl, bye. Girl, bye. But I had to take responsibility. Because I shouldn't. I remember one time I gave the prophet of the church, I gave him, somebody gave me a gift card because I was on my way to college, and they gave me a gift card so I could buy stuff for my dorm room. Dummy. I gave it to the prophet. I was like, oh, I want to give you this. This is all. I didn't have any money. I was like, I want to give this to the prophet. Every time I think about that, I want to punch little Nikki in her forehead. What do you mean? You know what the prophet said? Thank you so much. I needed it. And he was a philandering scammer. A hoe. Liar. I can't get mad at God. And I can't get mad at that scamming prophet. Because I did that. Me and my little lack of discernment. I did that. And you know who cussed me out about that? Mama Star. She said somebody gave that to you as a gift. I was like, what's the prophet? Ciao. So it's like, I get it. I like, it's wrong what they did. You guys are consenting. You guys, like the people that are talking about this, you guys are grown adults with families. You the head of your household, a working class man. Why are you giving Mary $5,000 when you got a wife and kids at home? I know you thought they were God, but now you got to do the work to figure out why you thought that. You got to start doing some discernment. Got to start decolonizing and decentering. So I get it. Mary and Robert were wrong. The Enoch family, you got to take some responsibility. The adults in this situation, come on. Come on. Let's take some responsibility. I will say this with Kim Cosby, Mary's sister-in-law. I will say, I think if she would have just flat out said Robert was grooming me and I allowed some things because I thought that what I was doing was the right thing to do in the eyes of God. I don't feel like she could totally, I don't feel like she was in a place to tell us that. One, because it's embarrassing. Two, you got to let your husband know that you did some things. Yes, we're hoping he understands, but you don't know if he will. He was groomed too. It's unfortunate. It's upsetting. But when you're an adult, you got to stand in it. You got to stand in it. You got to look over some stuff and you got to be like, all right, okay, let me free myself fully. So it would have been a much better documentary, I, in my opinion, if the people who put it together were honest. And I don't think that they could be honest because, again, they're still under the spell of Faith Temple 2.0. And it's just like it's one cult calling the other cult. It's just like y'all the same thing. So it's just I don't think it did what it needed to do. And that's unfortunate because I think they really wanted to tell us how awful Mary was. But if you're not going to be honest, then you can't land the plane. But my final thoughts, yes. Is Faith Temple a little cultist? No, yeah, I'll give you that. I wouldn't necessarily call it a full-on. Oh, I'm frozen. Hold on. Child. Not mama got me. Oh my gosh. Was I frozen for y'all? I will say, I looked at myself. Oh, I look good. When I saw that frozen image, yes. Yes, Nikki. Anyway, I will say, yes, Faith Temple was a little cultish. It was a little cultish. However, I think it was more of a scam than a cult. I think it started out as a scam and it became a very lucrative scam. And I think to cover the scam, they just went harder and harder to religion, where then it just became a cult. But I think it started off as just a scam. And then it turned into something a little bit more alarming than a scam. Was Robert a con? Absolutely. I from this documentary, it made me believe that not only was he a con, he was a predator. But I kind of already felt that way about him from meeting him on the show. Is Mary a con and a scammer? In my opinion, yeah. However, I do think that she is also a victim and somebody who was groomed in all of this nonsense. And I think that's why she's so odd. We're just looking at a traumatized person trying to like navigate through this life with all of this trauma that has been normalized. We end this documentary with not much of a conclusion. I don't really think that it landed. It didn't tell us anything that new. And I don't think I left this with a different opinion of Mary and Robert. I don't think I don't, it's not that I don't think, I know I didn't leave thinking, oh, they're worse than I thought. I already thought it was a little weird. I already thought that they was both a little off. Nothing new. Nothing new. Did I think they were both a little dark and demonic? Yeah. Yeah. Do I think the church is a little odd? Absolutely. Especially after they claimed Cameron's death as a win for messing with Mary. Something not right with them people. Do I feel bad? Yes, I feel bad for everybody involved. I think that everybody is a victim. Everybody was misled. Everybody's trauma was used against them. And it is unfortunate. It is sad how so many people in Utah and Salt Lake are taken advantage of by people who know good and well that they are selling them snake oil. It's very unfortunate and it's very, very sad. Last thing I will say, did y'all know that they used Kempire's image in all of these videos and they did not tell him? That's how I found out about this documentary. I saw Kempire's video on TikTok and he was just like, oh, I'm about to call my lawyer because I was watching this documentary and I didn't know that I was in it. Not only did they not tell him that he was in this documentary and they used so much footage from him, he said that they lied and like changed his numbers for the videos that they were saying that he was like the videos where he was talking about Mary. He's like, they inflated the numbers, they changed things, like this isn't even real. He did a whole video on it. Please go to his TikTok page. He is breaking down the nonsense. And it was not just him. There were other people. I think Sherelle's World and Up and Adam, I think they got paid. They had to. They had like their own confessionals. I think they got paid. But Kempire, he was just like, I did not know that I was in this thing until I watched it. How crazy. And see, that's why I don't do like Real Housewives commentary, because that happens a lot on TikTok. Like I do it on YouTube, but like, you know, I don't want to say ain't nobody watching because we 17,000 deep, but I'm like, oh, I do not consent for this video to be used on any show. I do not consent. I do not give you permission to use this video. Any networks, I don't give you permission. Let's talk about money. Anyway, he did not know, child. He did not know. My God, today. I think he's going to sue, and he has to win. There's no way he wouldn't win. How you going to use that man's image? He was all, first of all, I watched it and I was like, okay, Kip Hire. Okay. He's all throughout this video. And to find out they did not pay that man, crazy work. Same thing happened to them people in a Diddy documentary. They were all on TikTok falling out because they could not believe that they were in that documentary talking about free Diddy. Yikes. Yikes. They just pull, oh my gosh, they don't have to pay? I am SAG-AFTRA. You do not have permission to use this video. Child. Anyway, that's all I have to say. What do you have to say, Star Fam? Let's get into it. Let's get into it. We first going to start off with our super chat of the night. Hey, Nisha. How are you? Nisha said, I love you and miss you. I just need to see your face more on a Friday. I need your humor. Is it Friday? You know, something wrong with that. The aftertaste is not. I'm going to leave that alone. I need your humor, knowledge, smile, kindness, joy. We need it. Thank you so much. I'm going to be here. I want to be here more often. That's why I took that extended break, because I am scheduling and I am doing some things to make sure that you guys see my face every day on both channels. Give me until Sunday. And I'm going to work that schedule until the end of the month. And then I'm going to reach back out to you guys and you let me know how it's working for you or if there needs to be any tweaks. But don't worry about it. You'll be seeing me more often. Thank you so much, Nisha, for the super chat. Super chat. Love you too. Thank you. Happy New Year. So I'm getting in the comments. I'm starting from the top like I always do, and I'll work my way to the end. What's up, Denard? Denard said, hi, Star Fam. I will be in the replay gang. Still need to watch the episodes. It's a lot. Get ready. Thank you, Denard. Hey, Eva Empathy said, happy Tuesday, Nikki and Star Fam. I hope you all are having a great start to the new year, even though everything is already popping off. Child, at least we have each other. Amen. Hey, Spency. Spency said, hi, Nikki and Star Fam. I didn't watch it yet, but I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I get it. Pepe Kay said, Nikki, I've been so behind on NikkiStar at home. I've been binging for the last week. Thank you for brightening my day. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Collie Steve. Pie says, I just came to say, hey, real quick. The traders just came on. Talk to you later. Amen. I hope it's a good one. We're talking about it tomorrow. Always Prices said, literally, where are we going to go, right? Where are we going to go? Yikes. El Tavina said, Nikki and Star Fam, you have been missed. Thank you. Also, Nikki, for Real Housewives of Potomac, all of the ladies were filming the reunion today, including Karen. Yes, I saw that. We're going to talk about that in my reality TV chat before I get into Potomac. But my God, today, that is a reunion that I feel like is going to be worth the 3-part. PK said, something always happens in January with that man. Anyways, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Mama Star says, I pray that you all had a great holiday and missed you all. Thank you, Mama Star. Guys, starting Wednesday, Thursday. Mama, is it Wednesday or Thursday? Every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, and my mom's going to upload the video the next day on YouTube. Mama Star is doing her happy hour with Miss Melanie. It's basically a show for everybody, but she makes it specifically targeted towards mothers. And it's just an hour with my mom where she is just encouraging moms. And if you want to come on and be encouraged, come on and be encouraged. But every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, and it'll be uploaded the next day to my mom's YouTube. I will share it when she uploads it. Mom, share the link in the chat for your next show. Okay? Oh, I hope my sister does it. Hey, Alana. Alana said, I think if it came out at the start of Salt Lake City, it would have been something. Yeah, it didn't. Like, what? We learned some stuff new, but it's like, we're here now. Hannah said, I didn't watch nor care for it because it's things we already knew about. Yep. Eltavina said, this doc, I don't even think I will watch it. Like, yeah, she's a victim and he's a predator. Girl, we knew that from season 1 of Salt Lake City. Ciao. Hey, Drewski, Happy New Year. Hannah said, the fact that they used the voices and images of Kempire and other Black YouTubers without their consent. A mess. A mess. But thank God, Sherelle's World, she had to have gotten a check. She had her own confessional. There's no way. There's no way. I thought it was Crosby. They never said, guys, do you remember it being Crosby? It was Crosby at some point. Missy said a recorded watch along with you and your family will be cool. It will be cool if we could get it live. Oh, that's fun. I'll let the family know. Guys, we have been watching so many shows together. That might be really, really fun. Okay, thank you for that. We might even do like a review of it after. Also, it's me. Y'all never corrected me. Why didn't y'all correct me? See, Dare Show Podcast said, yes, all of a sudden it's Cosby. Thank you. It was Crosby at one point, y'all. Alana said, yeah, I asked the same thing when I first started watching if she was related to Bill Cosby. Me too. Oh, Hannah said, I missed you and your family's chaos. Well, thank you. Polymer Girl said, oh no, Nikki's going Mandela effect. No, it's always been Cosby. That's crazy. I am so sorry. It just kicked me out. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. Oh my goodness, StreamYard. Are y'all breaking my StreamYard? It just kicked me out. OMG. Anyway, Busola, thank you so much for the super sticker. And Happy New Year to you. Oh my God, that was so weird. I'm just talking and then nothing. Let me go up and get some older comments. Paula Girl said, Colin Robertson, your Gramps was the sis getting a dig at Mary. She's green with envy. That's the thing. I'm just like, y'all are trying to make these people seem so bad, which they are, but it's so obvious that y'all are just mad over money. Oh, y'all are just mad over money. Like we just have to be honest. Y'all are mad that Mary got mama's everything, her businesses, her wealth. That's what it is. This is money, and y'all trying to do a hit piece on these people, but you're looking funny in the light. Paula Girl said this. This is why Real Housewives of the Salt Lake City audience was judging Mary season 1. She's a trauma victim, but Heather and Whitney are afforded sympathy for theirs. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, it's a whole cast of people that have religious trauma, but only the white women are allowed to they're allowed sympathy. Mary isn't. And I will be honest, Mary makes it hard, right? She's not nice. So she makes it hard, but it's just the fact is she's experienced religious trauma as well. Callie Steve said, I believe almost everything in the documentary, but I also believe Mary was abused. Yeah. Same. Polymer Girl said, well, you know what they say about perimenopause. Am I right? Child! Jumping up and down on that baby. Liza Gallagher Reality said, I think it's also important to ask what was the economic and political situation for Black folks in Indianapolis that made her look outward. That's true. They don't get into why she left. She just had a vision. Listen, she had a very successful vision. My God, today. Ephraim said, people get trapped in a prison of belief. Yep. This stuff doesn't start on day one in the cult usually. It's the whole frog in the pot that's slowly turned up. You are absolutely right. Authentically Bria said the fact that Mary and her grandmother both were 20 years apart. Yep. Ain't that something? It's just a sick cycle. C. Golden said all of the people in line to inherit stuff and marry the disfellowship one is supposed to be the chosen one. Child, they did not like that. C. Golden said, I think it was weird for the sister to still be calling Robert Gramps. Either it was a dig or it's just, what she's used to. Because he was in their life, I think before some of them were born. Always Prices said, that's the beef. They're mad at that Mary used those worldly ways to get Gramps to become her trick. Child. Paula Girl said, calling Robert C. Oh, yeah, I got that one. Alana said, yes, very much true. I went through it. I had a son at 16 with my... I am so sorry, Alana. But here we have a star family who is letting you know that stuff like this does happen. Polymer Girl said, seriously, I'm not shocked. I couldn't understand why those Mormon white castmates were so reverent to Mary from day one. The ones who tried her are back in the fold. There's something about Mary. True. Hey, Bart Meets World. Bart Meets World said, hey, NikkiStar fam, Happy New Year. So upset I didn't get a notification. I'm so sorry, but thank you for being here. C. Golden said it's weird and I couldn't quite go along with what she was trying to imply. Yeah, that's the thing. It was just like, I don't think that anybody was able to be fully honest because everybody is still within some kind of cult, right? So if you are really honest, then you got to talk about your current situation and what you are in. And some people don't want to leave the comfort of the world that they created. It's tough. I say this is somebody who has left several churches. You are leaving back so much of your life, especially if you are in a Black American church, because so much of our culture is wrapped up in the church. So it's not only are you walking away from your church, you're walking away from your community, you're walking away from your friends and family, you're walking away from, spiritual leaders who you really revered. You're also walking away from a huge chunk of your culture. That's tough. So not everybody can do that. And some people will stay, and I will not judge those who stayed because even though I'm thankful that I got out of that, me and my family got out of that, it still was very hard. Very, very painful. And I still, to this day, miss so much of it. Hannah said, I knew the documentary wasn't going to be good when I saw that. What's your beef for Up and Adam? I thought y'all loved him. Authentically, Bria said, is it me or did the doc come across a little choppy? Yeah, it was very choppy to me, especially episode 3. I was like, ugh. They should have got 50 Cent. Oh, I'm sorry. C. Golden said in Utah, is Utah like some kind of vacuum or something? Why will these people all go along with this? Working to death for free. It can happen. Sometimes you just believe that these people are very close to God, and you want to please God and you want to get a word in from God. So you do things that you think will get his attention, and that is taking care of his leaders. It happens. Hannah said the documentary should have focused on Mama and Robert. They were the mastermind behind all of this. I think the documentary couldn't focus on Mama and Robert because they would not, the people who participated in the documentary wouldn't have been a part of it. Because if you focus on Mama and Robert and are honest about that relationship, then it puts a blemish on Mama. And those people from Faith Temple 2.0 would not have participated in the documentary. It's like they were wrong for not paying you. You didn't ask for your check after 2 weeks? Baby, that check is late 1 day. I'm asking. After that, I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court. The hell with that church. I will see you in court. Hannah said it should have focused on mental manipulation of church goers. Absolutely. Afro Chic said, I didn't and won't watch the documentary. I'm glad Nikki is reviewing and giving an honest perspective. Thank you so much. E for Empathy said, cohesive control is one hell of a drug. People really need to look into it. It's even worse for groups where leaders are seen as infallible. Absolutely. And don't let that leader be attractive. Woo! Paula Girl said, you can't make me think this wasn't a hit piece. They have a load of subjects from the biggest religious scriptures to generous polygamy and upside down right there in Utah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hannah said, desperation makes you do stupid things like trusting religions and religious entities. Yep. Hannah also said, everyone is looking for a savior instead of looking for the savior in themselves. Absolutely. E for Empathy said, I have done a ton of cult research, LOL. Many people in cults are both the perpetrator and the victim. Look at women who went to jail. Yep. For, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I know what you're talking about. And they were branded like the other women. This is not about cults, but it is about how the abused becomes the abuser. Do you remember? I think it had to be like 10 or 15 years ago. Hold on, let me just get it right. What was his name? I can't even think of it. Let me know in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. There was this guy that went viral for finding 3 women who had been kidnapped like 10 years prior and were held in the home of this Hispanic man who was a family man and a grandfather. He had kept them in some dungeon under his home. And when he got caught because one of the girls opened up a window in the dungeon and was screaming help to this man and his brother. He ran over to get her, and he went viral for saying something. And I thought I could remember, but I don't remember. He went viral for saying something. But when the girls were rescued, the guy was caught or whatever. I think he committed suicide in prison, but he was caught or whatever. And the girls were caught, and they were all doing interviews. And one of the girls, she had a baby by him. She had her daughter. I think her daughter was like 6 or 7 or whatever, raised in captivity. And the girls were all doing interviews, and everybody was just like, something is up because they're not close. Like, what is going on? So 2 of the women who were kidnapped by this man were close, and they would be doing interviews together, but they wouldn't do interviews with the other girl. And everybody was just like, why won't they all come together? Like, they would refuse to do interviews with her. Come to find out, she was his main John, his first victim. And he had, and she was able to become his like prize victim because she started to help him abuse the other 2 women. And so when they were all doing their interviews, The other girls were just like, no, we don't want to do an interview with her because she is an abuser as well. Then she started doing interviews and she was just like, I had to do what I had to do to survive for me and my child. None of them talk. Like the other two girls, they talk from time to time, but they do not deal with that woman. They see her just as evil as him. But she was just like, I know that what I did was wrong. I had to do it to protect myself and my child. The problem is that man that kidnapped these three very young girls and raped and abused them for over a decade. He is the issue. But what happened was one of them saw an easier way out. And so she became an abuser to show him that she is faithful. And although she knew it was wrong, she did what she needed to do in her eyes to protect her and her child. So it's very easy to, not easy, but you see how that can happen with the abused because they're being played by this guy. And if they all were able to probably, I won't say if because I don't know, but it's unfortunate that they worked against each other and not together to get out of that situation. But I said all that to say it can happen. It can happen. It's a slippery slope, but if you do not get the help that you need, it can absolutely happen. It happens all the time in church. It happens all the time in cults. It's a really serious issue. But I think because, especially in America, because Americans are raised to be individuals. There's not much community happening, which is why the rest of the world is looking to America and being like, what is going on? The problem is there's only one community that has been actively fighting against the oppressor. That community is tired, fed up, and their hands are tied. So without that community, my community, leading the charge, everybody's at a standstill. They don't know what to do because they don't know how to fight. So they'll accept it. They'll accept that this is their reality. And instead of coming together to fight the common oppressor, they will fight against each other to the death. It's a mental hold that people put on themselves. And that's the thing. It's like, how much can you blame the oppressor? How much can you blame billionaires when you won't do anything? Right? It's like, it's terrible what they're doing to you, but you can fight back. But you have a nation full of adults scared, stuck, and will let more and more people die. Because this is just where we are, what we're used to. We're not used to reaching across the aisles unless one community does it. They're used to one community fighting, sacrificing, and dying so they can have a better life. When it's time for them to do it, they're stuck. And they will go down on this Titanic with their oppressor, knowing good and well that they can swim. Unfortunate, off my soapbox. Wait, Brooke Ashley was in this? Was Brooke Ashley? Oh, they used her. Oh my gosh. Brooke and Kempire. Oh my God. Oh, nobody got paid? No way. Up and Adam and Sherelle's World had a confessional. They had to get paid, y'all. They had to get paid. They had a confessional. Alana said, somebody said Friday, somebody else said Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday. What? Yeah. Like, we're just getting back. We're just getting back to figuring this all out. Yes, here's Mama Star show. Mama Star says, Happy New Year and New You, period. Join me at my new time every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Happy Hour with Miss Melanie. 1 hour of happy. Everything is new. A new year and a new you. Mama, I also wanted you to put the link. It's on her Facebook. Her Facebook is Ms. Melanie. So if you're on Facebook, she's there. She is there. Yeah, 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. EST. Paulo Girl said, oh, someone in the chat just said the disfellowed one became the chosen one. What a great light bulb. Mama was a buddy too, so she chose Wayward Mary. Excellent point. Thank you so much. Yep. Even said, look at Scientology. I will say this church worked kind of like that, where the disfellowship, when they said that Mary was disfellowed, I was like, that's very Scientology-esque. They got people working. Oh my God, they're working for 50 cents. They call them clergy. Ooh, a mess. A mess. Leslie Lai said, I just did research. Jim Jones created People's Temple in the 1950s. Dr. Rosemary started her church building in 1961, both from Indiana. Question that needs answers. What was going on in Indiana during this time? I'm just guessing because of the time. I think it was a lot of racial unrest and turmoil. I think a lot of people, especially black people, at that time, were looking for a way out. We're looking for a brighter day. So anybody coming to them and telling them, oh, especially a community that is being bombed and lynched and, milkshakes thrown on their head and beat up for walking on a certain side of the street. You come to them and say, don't worry, God is going to deliver you from this. Just come to my church and I will tell you how God will save you from this. It's sad, but that's an easy lick. That's an easy lick because those people who are so traumatized, going through so much hell, will believe you because they need somebody to tell them that it will get better. Happens all the time. All the time. Yes, he said, dead giveaway. Yes. He said, yes, Alana said, yes, I knew something was wrong when a white woman ran into a black man's arm. Dead giveaway. They were making songs about that viral clip. Dead giveaway. Crazy. Give Me Shelter said, but how did TLC bypass Mormon or ex-Mormon on the cast of Salt Lake City and just focus on Mary? Isn't TLC the network that platforms harmful families for 30 years? They should do a doc on their talent. Honestly, I think that TLC bought, because this was shock to them. I think they bought it because they thought that it would be very controversial, which it was, but I don't think it landed the way that they had hoped that it would have landed. If somebody would have done a documentary about the inbred twins, the inbred sisters, I think they would have, use it as well. Because I think they were trying to go off of Hulu's success with their Housewife deep dives. I don't think it worked for them in the same way. I believe it was in Ohio. Oh, SVU was always doing that, Golden. Always doing that. Yes, thank you, Barb Meets World. Stockholm Syndrome. That's what I was trying to say. Give Me Shelter said, Brooke, Ashley, Kempire, and Giorgio says, oh, we're all used and not paid. I didn't watch the doc, but I watched them. I hope that, that's so sad. Yeah, they had to have gotten paid because they had full-on confessionals. Multiple. Thank you, Miss T. Pollard said, ain't it funny TLC used black creators' work for free, but couldn't find a black theologian or religion? Again, I think the TLC was just a network to show it. I think this documentary was already ready and edited, and ready to go when it got to them. I think they just bought the doc. I don't think they created it. Oh, Indiana got a lot going on, child. Yes, I can hear it. I know the stereotype about Black Americans. It's broke. We have had a lot of rain here in LA, and some rain got into our fire alarm. I'm so embarrassed. I was telling my mom, I was like, I think they're going to be able to hear it, and you can. I'm so embarrassed. So we're getting it fixed, but you're going to have to hear some chirping. I'm so sorry. E for Empathy said, given the times we're in right now, I wouldn't be shocked if more high control group. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, MAGA. That is a cult, guys. They don't believe anything. They just want destruction. That's their belief, destruction. And then there's going to be a far opposite of that. And I think a lot of these groups that are going to come up are going to become political parties, like MAGA will eventually become one. It's just not, they don't have like, their political parties, Republicans, but I think after what Trump does to this, like, I think we got a couple more years. And then after Trump puts us in all these wars that we cannot win, I think the Republican Party is going to split from MAGA. And I think MAGA is probably going to become a political party. And I think we're going to get a lot of other parties out of people who are disillusioned with the Democrats. And it won't be Green Party. Like, those parties have had their time. I think these new parties are going to get some traction, especially from the people who are left or directly affected by the wars that we are going to be in. Because I'm telling you right now, all of Europe and China about to link up against us. When that fool go for Greenland, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Missy B said, congrats on 17K. I said the Cash App. Thank you so much. But Missy B, we've been here. We've had 17K for a minute. I'm sorry for saying it like it's a new thing. Please forgive me. But thank you so much, Missy B. Let me see my little Cash App. I don't mean little like that, you know. Let me see my Cash App. Thank you. I'm about to yes! Thank you, Missy. Love you. Coming into the new year fresh. I'm so sorry. I am. Oh my God. I'm hopefully it'll be fixed tomorrow. We put in a request, but my God, today it has been a nightmare. Like, you guys have no idea. I did not film. I was supposed to vlog for Christmas Eve and Christmas. I could not do that because that was Christmas Eve was when we got the first rainfall for the winter storm, the Christmas storm that we got. Y'all, I mean, I know a lot of people saw videos or whatever. Y'all have no idea how bad it was. The damage, we're still recovering. It was so, LA is just not prepared for rain. And I'm like, at this point, we got to start putting some money towards prepping this place for rain, because it's coming, guys. It's coming. And I am someone who wasn't against the rain, right? Because we started off the year in fires. Hallelujah. I felt like it was spiritual. Started the year off with fire, ended with rain. Won't he do it? But LA has to prepare. Like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, the cleanup and the damage that rain did. Like, I'm from Philly. It rains. Now, when it snows in Philly, Philly should know how to deal with snow at this point. But, it's another story for another time. You know what? It's the African Americanness in this, because there are times when I'm like watching people's videos and somebody in the comments will be like, "Oh my God, can you put a battery in that alarm?" And I'm like, "What alarm?" And I go back and watch the video, and then I can hear it. I'm like, "Oh, I did not recognize it at all." Oh my gosh. Yes, I saw the seating chart. We're going to talk about it tomorrow in a reality TV chat. We're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Traders, and we're going to talk about the murder plot against NikkiNicoleStar child. But I'm going to talk about that in my Real Housewives of Potomac segment. Hannah said, I hope we are going to be more in tune with our African spirituality. We going to need to. My God, today, we going to need everything we can get. Give Me Shelter said, MAGA is a new Tea Party. I feel like MAGA absorbed some of the libertarians while Bernie leftists have the other half. I agree. Both of those movements, very scary. Very, very, very scary. Oh yeah, it was bad in the Bay. Especially in the mountainous areas. Paulo Girl said, we're going to be okay. And I mean, yeah. Let them fix the votes they impose on us. Hunker down and stay with us. Yeah, I've been saying the most important thing we can have right now is community. If you are not in the community, baby, you better create one. You better start hosting parties. You better start doing something to create a community, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get through what we're about to endure with this nut job. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm telling you, as soon as he touched Greenland, he gonna wake up the rest of Europe. I don't feel like it. Oh gosh, are we gonna? Oh God, who's gonna colonize us? I'd rather be colonized by the Irish. No shade to the UK. I don't feel like it. I don't want to be British. I make me Irish. Come on, Ireland, come and get us. I like the Irish. I'm fine with them. Give Me Shelter said the Senate voted today to extend ACA for 3 more years and block any future executive orders without congressional approval, focusing specific. C. Courtney said, girl, I thought that was my smoke alarm and had to pause the video to make sure. I'm so sorry. LOL. I was like, I just changed that battery. Oh, I love to be Scottish. That is not Scottish. My God. Yeah, Scottish would be fun. Scottish or Irish? Because I feel like it's going to be either, oh my God, is it going to be China? I don't know. Do we want to be Irish or Chinese, guys? I don't know. That's tough. I got to do some research because I'm from Philly, so I feel like I grew up. I grew up going to Chinatown. I had a ball. I don't know. Oh, do you want to be Chinese or Irish? Because I don't feel like Scotland got the muscle. We might be Chinese, y'all. We might be Chinese. That's going to be, you know what? We got. Let's go. It's not going to be France. They ain't got the, oh my God, we could be Canadian. Do we want to be Canadian? No shade. Do we want to be Canadian? You know, I feel like we had enough white rule. I'm China first, and then maybe Canada, because I feel like Canada is the most real. I think it'll be an easier transition. Oh my gosh, are we going to be Canadian? Oh Lord, this is so sad. Oh, they did, but I don't know why France was in that meeting. They ain't got no money. I'm telling you, the ancestors from Haiti are collecting, child. My God, they are not playing with them. Ephraim really said, I'm playing in 2 D&D campaigns and writing a book so I don't have to think about this 24/7. Absolutely. Yeah, I was sure. That wasn't Scottish. Oh. But yeah, for empathy, I'm right there with you. We I hate to say it's our fan, but we're going to act like what's happening isn't happening. That's the only way we're going to get through it. That's the only way we're going to get through it. I like the Irish too, but I think, it's time. We need a different kind of ruler. We need a different kind of ruler. No problem, Tia. No problem. I literally just had to put my phone down because I'm just I'm taking in too much information. It's stressing me out. It's like I'm starting to like take in just enough so I could be informed. But then you're hearing about that poor woman who lost her life in Minneapolis. And you just get so engulfed again. It's like, oh my God, it's every day. It's something. It's never peace. It's never peace. Kimmy Cho said, I'll take China. Asia is already 20 years ahead of the West. Scotland is a good 5 to 10 years ahead of us. The US looks like trash compared to the rest. True. Very, very true. Yeah. Especially the ones in Philly. My God, today they got hands. They got hands. Give me shows that France is mad at Africa right now, but they really don't want this administration messing with Europe. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. They like, if anybody looked at Project 2025, he already talked about it. They're going for it. And that's when he's going to mess up. That's when they're going to be like, oh, you done went too far. Let us show you how powerful we are with our powers combined. You're right about that, Kylie Steve. You're right about that. Who's going to get us? Who's going to get us? It's a wrap. Busola said, did anyone watch the show Heated Rivalry? It was so fun. I did. My sister watched it and she loved it. I was going to watch it, but I feel like the buzz is gone. But if you guys want to talk about that, I'll watch it. Can we talk about how I'm just like, what is going on in Minneapolis spiritually? It's something going on over there. It's something. A portal was opened. Something is happening. Where are the spiritual girlies? Because something is going on in Minneapolis. Alana said, I got to go. I have a job interview in the morning. I'm so excited, but a little nervous. Good night. Wow, Alana. We are sending you well wishes and prayers for your job interview on tomorrow. We are praying for a victory for you. We, the Star family, stand 10 toes down for you. And we are sending you so much joy and good tidings. Have a knockout interview, and we are expecting a great report. Good night. And let me get a couple more, and then I'll get out of here. Liza Galilee said nearly 90% of Chinese citizens own their homes. They have social life. Oh, students are in school from, we'll see. I love that, but I'm out of school. They have, you know what? Maybe, do I need to go visit my future home and see how they're doing it over there? It's something going on. A portal was open. A portal was open. Yeah. It's crazy right now, but we're going to be all right. Yes, congrats in advance, Alana. We are going to be all right. And Star fam, let me get out of here. I will see you tomorrow for reality TV chat. This Saturday, I'm trying something new. Let me know how you feel about that. I am going to do a recorded review of Drag Race episode 1 and episode 2. Let me know what you think about that. If I can do a live on Saturday for Drag Race, I will. Let me know in the comments if that's what you prefer. But for now, they're going to be recorded since Drag Race comes on Friday, and I got plans Friday night. Not with a man, but one of my not resolutions, but one of my goals this year is to get out there more because I just feel like the world is the nation that I know is changing so much. I want to enjoy what I know it to be before everything is gone. So sad, but it's the truth. Anyway, so tomorrow I'll see you for reality TV chat, and Saturday I will see you for Drag Race. Anyway, guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy New Year. Great things are going to happen. The pendulum will swing back. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye. Happy New Year.